News Corp, Empire of Influence, a legacy of media and controversy. What if one family's vision reshaped how we consume news and entertainment? A media empire that spans continents and influences the very narratives that define our world. This is the story of News Corp.
News Corp is a global media and information services company, creating and distributing content to consumers and businesses worldwide. With a focus on authoritative and engaging content, it operates across a range of media, from digital real estate to subscription video, news, and book publishing. Its portfolio includes some of the most recognizable brands in the world, including The Wall Street Journal, The Australian, The Times, HarperCollins Publishers, and Foxtel. News Corp's key business segments include digital real estate services, subscription video services, news and information services, and book publishing. As of June 30th, 2024, the company employed approximately 23,900 people across the globe, with a significant presence in the US, the UK, and Australia. Traded on the Nasdaq under the symbols NWSA and NWS, and on the Australian Securities Exchange as NWSLV and NWS, News Corp has a market capitalization that places it among the world's leading media companies.
The story of News Corp begins not just with Rupert Murdoch, but with his father, Sir Keith Murdoch. Keith, a journalist himself, instilled a belief in the power of the press, a legacy that would profoundly shape Rupert's path. In 1915, Keith Murdoch was appointed manager of United Cable Service, which was jointly owned by the Sydney Sun and the Melbourne Herald. Keith Murdoch's reporting on the Gallipoli campaign during World War I, his Gallipoli letter criticizing the British command, has become part of the company's mythology. News Corp has repeatedly evoked the Gallipoli letter to present the company as the proud inheritor of a tradition of resolutely independent journalism holding power to account. Upon his father's death, Rupert inherited a small newspaper business, News Limited, in Australia, a base for what would become a global empire. Rupert took control of the family business and quickly showed a unique blend of entrepreneurial drive, risk-taking, and a visionary approach to media. He wasn't content with the status quo, acquiring his siblings' shares and expanding into new markets. His ambition was to be more than a manager. He wanted to be an owner and a builder of an international media enterprise.
Early struggles. The road to becoming a media giant was far from smooth. In the early days, News Corp faced considerable financial difficulties. Rupert's aggressive expansion strategy, while visionary, led to high levels of debt. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, the company was on the precipice of collapse. The global recession of the time put significant pressure on News Corp's finances, requiring a massive restructuring of its debt. During the debt crisis of 1991, Rupert Murdoch had to convince 146 different banks to give him time to repay his debt. Additionally, News Corp encountered stiff competition in each new market it entered. From established players in print to the big three networks in the United States, Rupert had to prove that News Corp could not just survive, but dominate.
Early business model. Before the digital age, before the internet, there was print, and within print media, there were newspapers. This is where News Corp's story begins. A story not just of ink on paper, but of ambition, strategy, and the will to build a media empire. Today, we'll explore the foundational business model that launched News Corp, focusing on its core principles, not its history. It's a model built on a few simple yet powerful ideas about how to create a media giant. Print media as the foundation. At its heart, News Corp's starting business model was built upon a commitment to print media, specifically newspapers. This wasn't just about reporting news. It was about building influence and creating a daily habit for readers. It was about providing both information and entertainment. The newspaper was the product, the distribution system, and the battleground. A key strategy was owning both a leading quality newspaper and a popular tabloid in the same market, allowing for the shaping of both elite and popular opinions. Acquisition and consolidation. News Corp didn't start with just one newspaper. It grew through a relentless strategy of acquisition and consolidation. The company sought to buy existing newspapers to expand its reach and influence. The idea was to gain economies of scale, eliminate competition, and build a network of interconnected media holdings. The goal was to be present in as many markets as possible. This approach allowed for greater market control and the ability to shape regional news landscapes. The tabloid approach. A hallmark of News Corp's early model was the use of the tabloid format in some of its papers. This wasn't just about smaller page sizes, it was about a different kind of content strategy. Tabloids focused on sensationalism, gossip, crime, and celebrity news. This type of content drove high circulation numbers and created a loyal, if not always serious, readership. The tabloid was a vehicle for capturing attention, which translated into advertising dollars. Political influence. From the beginning, News Corp saw itself as more than just a news provider. It aimed to wield political influence. Its newspapers became platforms for promoting specific viewpoints and agendas. The papers were used to promote pro-business views, challenge union interests, and shape public perceptions of government and politicians. The news wasn't always just reported. It was also often shaped. Cost-cutting measures. To maximize profits, News Corp implemented various cost-cutting measures. A major focus was reducing labor costs in newspaper divisions. This included adopting new technologies, such as direct computer inputting, which replaced traditional typesetting and reduced the need for unionized labor. While these actions increased profitability, they often led to tensions and conflicts. Revenue through advertising. The financial engine that powered News Corp's early business model was primarily advertising revenue. The newspapers served as a platform for businesses to reach a wide audience. The more readers a newspaper had, the more it could charge for advertising space. This created a direct link between circulation numbers and profit. Advertising was the lifeblood of the print media business, and this was critical to the company's business plan.
The breakthrough. A key turning point in News Corp's growth came with the launch of the Fox network in the United States. In 1985, News Corporation acquired the 6-station Metro Media television station, which would become the basis for the Fox network. This was the first major challenger to the big three U.S. broadcast networks ABC, CBS, and NBC since the 1950s. The creation of the Fox network was a bold move, signaling Rupert's willingness to challenge the status quo. It provided the company with a platform to showcase its programming. The success of Fox also paved the way for the expansion into cable television and film production, with News Corp acquiring 20th Century Fox Film Studios in 1984.
Acquisitions and expansion. News Corp's growth is a story of strategic acquisitions, each designed to expand its reach and influence. The purchase of 20th Century Fox in 1984 and the subsequent creation of the Fox network were the first major steps into filmed entertainment. The acquisition of 20th Century Fox in 1985 offered opportunities to cross-promote other News Corp interests. In 2007, Rupert Murdoch acquired Dow Jones, publisher of the Wall Street Journal, significantly strengthening News Corp's position in the financial news market. In a letter to the majority owners of Dow Jones, the Bancroft family, Murdoch assured them that their legacy was safe in his hands. Other acquisitions included HarperCollins Publishers, further solidifying the company's position in book publishing. News Corp also made significant investments in digital platforms, including the purchase of MySpace, though that venture ultimately failed. These acquisitions were often bold, sometimes controversial, but always aimed at solidifying News Corp's position as a media powerhouse. This expansion wasn't limited to the United States. News Corp established a presence in key media markets such as the UK and Australia. News Corp continued to make acquisitions in all its key media markets as it entered the 21st century.
Business model evolution. The media landscape has transformed dramatically over the decades, forcing News Corp to adapt its business model. The rise of the internet presented both a challenge and an opportunity for News Corp. While the company's initial ventures into the digital space were met with mixed results, it did not deter Rupert Murdoch from pushing into digital technologies. News Corp entered the digital services market early, purchasing Delphi Internet Services, the first commercial operator offering full internet access, for $15 million in 1993. However, the plan to build a comprehensive digital platform never materialized, and the company sold it in 1996. The company's approach to digital has been marked by a combination of successes and failures. The investments in digital real estate services and data services proved to be very successful. News Corp also shifted from traditional print and broadcast models to digital and streaming services. The partnership with Apple to launch The Daily in 2011 as an iPad-only publication was a noteworthy experiment at the time. Although The Daily did not ultimately survive, it reflected the company's willingness to experiment with new digital formats. This commitment to digital transformation continues, with News Corp focusing on developing digital offerings, licensing and partnerships, and sharing technologies across its businesses. It continues to leverage its global reach and valuable data to expand its digital presence.
Current business segments in depth. Today, News Corp operates through several key business segments. News media. This segment includes News Corp Australia, News UK, and the New York Post, as well as Wireless Group, which operates TalkSport Radio. It generates revenue primarily from circulation, subscriptions, and advertising. Dow Jones. Dow Jones is a global provider of business news and information. Its products are distributed through various media channels, including websites, newswires, and proprietary databases. Dow Jones's consumer products include premier brands such as the Wall Street Journal, Barron's, MarketWatch, and Investors Business Daily. Book publishing. HarperCollins is one of the world's largest English-language publishers, with a global presence across various genres. Revenue is generated from the sale of print, digital, and audiobooks. Digital real estate services. This segment is primarily represented by realestate.com.au in Australia and Realtor.com in the US, changing the way the world experiences property. These platforms provide property listings and related services. Digital real estate services offer property and property-related advertising and services, as well as financial services. Subscription video services. This segment includes the Foxtel Group in Australia and Australian News Channel, ANC. It provides sports, entertainment, and news to pay TV and streaming subscribers via satellite and the internet. The Foxtel Group is the largest Australian-based subscription television provider with programming content, including live sporting events. It also provides streaming services, including Kayo Sports, Binge, and Foxtel Now. Each segment operates in a competitive landscape, facing challenges from both traditional and digital media outlets. The New York Times and CNN are among those with whom News Corp competes in the news media space.
Controversies and challenges. News Corp's journey hasn't been without controversy. The company has faced numerous scandals and ethical dilemmas that have tested its reputation. The 2011 phone hacking scandal at the News of the World is a major turning point in News Corp's history, revealing a culture of unethical practices. The News of the World illegally accessed the phones of many high-profile figures. This included celebrities, politicians, and even the family of a murdered schoolgirl, Millie Dowler. Initially, News Corp claimed that a single rogue reporter, Clive Goodman, was responsible. However, evidence later showed the practice was widespread. The scandal led to the closure of the News of the World after 168 years of operation. It also led to significant legal action, costing the company over £100 million by 2016. There were multiple arrests of senior executives, and Rupert and James Murdoch were summoned to Parliament to account for the actions of their newspapers. The scandal also triggered a broader debate about media ethics and regulation. News Corp has been criticized for its close relationships with politicians and for promoting a right-wing populist ideology. Rupert Murdoch has cultivated close relationships with numerous prime ministers and presidents, raising questions about his influence. Critics argue that News Corp outlets mobilize to make or break political reputations, consistently promoting right-wing views. News Corp's outlets have been accused of promoting a right-wing populist ideology, often prioritizing this over factual reporting. The company has been described as promoting a culture war by attacking public service broadcasting and critical intellectuals. The Australian has been censured for its relentlessly hostile coverage of the country's Labour Party. Also, News Corp has been accused of promoting the 2003 invasion of Iraq. The company's news outlets have also been cited for their consistent denial of human-caused climate change, despite scientific consensus. News Corp has shown hostility towards both government regulation and self-regulation. The company canceled its membership in the Australian Press Council after the council censured the Australian for its intensely partisan reporting. News Corp has faced financial challenges, forcing major restructurings over the years. Debt crisis of 1991, the company accumulated significant debt, leading to tense negotiations with banks. 2012 split. In 2012, News Corporation was divided into two separate publicly traded companies. News Corp took responsibility for newspapers, book publishing, education, and marketing services, while 21st Century Fox took on cable and television assets. The split was also a response to the phone hacking scandal to separate the controversial UK newspapers from its entertainment assets. Divestment. In 2018, 21st Century Fox and British Sky Broadcasting were sold, further changing the company's structure and focus. Digital challenges. News Corp has struggled to establish an independent presence online. It has shifted to a subscription-based model, introducing paywalls to generate revenue from its digital content. The company is also navigating challenges presented by AI and how it affects news provision. Beyond the external controversies, News Corp has faced internal challenges, including questions about its corporate culture and the succession of leadership. There has been criticism of News Corp's corporate culture, particularly regarding sexism. Female staff have complained about stereotypical representations of women in the company's tabloid publications. A former editor of the New York Post sued News Corp alleging sexual harassment. Family control. The Murdoch family has maintained significant control over the company through a dual-class share structure. There have been challenges from shareholders concerned about the family's influence. Succession uncertainty. Rupert Murdoch's decision to hand leadership to his son, Lachlan, has introduced uncertainty about the future direction of the company. James Murdoch has a different vision for the company's future and has resigned, citing disagreements over editorial content. With Rupert Murdoch's death, his voting shares would be distributed amongst his children, which may lead to new changes in company direction. Ethical concerns. The company's ethics have been questioned, particularly regarding its promotion of false claims and its impact on public discourse. There are continued concerns about the company's role in the degradation of democracy.
News Corp faces significant challenges, including competition from digital giants like Google and Facebook, maintaining journalistic integrity in the age of misinformation, and adapting to changing consumer habits. However, it also has the resources and experience to continue to be a major force in the media landscape. News Corp's success will depend on its ability to embrace new technologies, cultivate a culture of innovation, and navigate the complexities of the digital age. The company must prioritize audience engagement, invest in high-quality journalism, and ensure its content remains relevant and trustworthy in an increasingly competitive media environment. News Corp's legacy is one of immense influence, innovation, and controversy. It has not only adapted to the media landscape, but in many ways has helped to create it. News Corp has played a significant role in shaping the political and cultural landscape of the world.